delighted and excited to be here. Pay it forward and profit, packed and profitable events. Dr. Dean, Dr. Claude, here for your listening and dancing pleasure. Please keep your hands and arms inside until this podcast has come to a full and complete stop, making sure your tray tables in their fully upright and locked position. Should this live cast lose cabin pressure, Dr. Claude will come around and give each and every one of you mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Oh, forget that. All right, Dr. Claude, listen, this is one of my favorite conversations ever. And we were talking about this on our accountability call, which is something we encourage you to do, is that we were talking about how mistakes have literally generated millions of dollars in our businesses, all because, with risk tolerance, all with the knowing that the best way to learn something is to do something good, bad, or indifferent. Dr. Claude, I'm going to give you the mic here. Go ahead and kick us off. Why is the money-making marketing magic of making massive mistakes so wildly profitable to you in your business?
Dean, I've always been one to be curious. Well, what would happen if I did this, or what would happen if we tried this, or what would happen if I mixed this with this? What would happen? And many of these ideas we kind of fall flat on our face.
Yep.
But many of these ideas were home runs, and some of these were so successful we never thought they would be humanly that profitable or that big of a deal. So, like Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth had two world's records. One, he had the most home runs, but he also had the world's record for the most strikeouts.
That's
and
right.
The reason he had so many home runs, he wasn't afraid to strike out. So sometimes I think as an expert, we kind of get set in our ways. We do things the way we've always done them. And there's amazing opportunities just right in front of us, but we kind of scared to take a chance. What happens if it didn't work? What would people think?
Yeah.
Those types of things, right? So
yeah, absolutely. You have to build up a risk tolerance. Of course, we're not talking about going out there and jumping into a car crusher without knowing what the potential outcomes are. But look, you go out there, tell us about, for instance, why you always now get your venues always sponsored. Because you went outside of your comfort zone, you did something, but here's the thing. You only grow and learn and stretch when you're challenged to do so. Nothing significant or magnificent ever comes out of your sort of comfort zone. When things are going well, you don't challenge yourself to do something different or something new, but when you challenge yourself like you did, then you figured out something that has literally generated millions of dollars in real results for you. Dr. Claude.
Well, I remember being a teenager wanting to be a magician. I was out cutting grass, washing windows for $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Ended up saving $2,000 the hard way. It took me maybe a year to save that $2,000. Decided to go and rent a venue for $2,000. And I would put up posters, and people would come, and I'm going to make a fortune. And so I made these little homemade posters, went around, put them up in the laundromat windows kind of thing. 12 people showed up to the event, and I lost by $2,000. And I was nauseous. I mean, it took me a year to save this kind of money. And I just blew it all in one day by renting this venue. And I swore this would never, ever happen to me again. And from that day forward, all my venues have been sponsored. And I have played in 50-seat venues, and I played in 100,000-seat venues. And I never, ever paid for a venue that day forward. That was a very valuable lesson for me. And that was probably the best return on $2,000 one could ever get, because what I learned was worth millions of dollars to me in my success.
Yep. And as a direct result of that school of hard knocks, that university of hard knocks, that you learned something that you would have never otherwise had learned the easy way. Somebody else paid for your venue, or somebody just simply hired you for a couple of $100 or a couple of $1,000 to do that show. And you would have never figured out that, hey, I get them sponsored. So not only do I not pay for the venue, I actually get paid to not pay for the venue. And I get to do what I love in front of people that care. And they're there because they want to see what it is that we have to offer in one way, shape, form, or another. And we also impact positively and powerfully charitable cause groups and organizations and churches and schools and the community and our families and everybody else. Win, 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 win. All because we learned that paying for a venue isn't always the best methodology. As an example, you know. So, there's all kinds of ways. Hey, I do want to say congratulations that your car just won again. And tell us a little bit about that story, because I think this is an incredibly fascinating story, and all because you didn't pay for a venue after you learned not to pay for a venue. You wouldn't be doing this probably right now if you didn't have that mistake, right?
Well, Dino, I always like trying new things, and my forte has always been creating win-win partnerships. That's what we've always done. As an entertainer, as an author, as a speaker, as a sponsorship expert, I simply find people that I can partner with. How can we create win-win opportunities? So recently, one of my clients has a virtual race team. They actually race on video games, and they were wondering if it was possible to actually get a race car in a video game actually sponsored, like a real race car. And I said, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible or not. I don't know if someone would actually fork over $5,000 to put their logo on a game, on a virtual game. But I said, let's try it. So I coached this gentleman an hour a week for 6 weeks, and he just went and out and landed $15,000 in sponsorships for his virtual race car. And as a bonus, they added another car to their fleet and a truck that actually runs in NASCAR sanctioned events on video games. And they have my logo all over a car and all over a truck. And my car raced on Wednesday night and won first. And on Thursday night, it ran in a big qualifying race that was super important. And my car took first on that as well. My truck took first on that. And 20 to 50,000 people will see some of these replays. And they're competing for hundreds of thousands of dollars in prizes. And did I think that was possible to get a video game car sponsored? I didn't know, but I thought, let's try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But there just so happens to be about 200,000 or 300,000 of these video teams out there. And I am early being positioned as a go-to guy for the guy that can actually help you get a virtual race car sponsored. So by taking a leap of faith, trying to help people, saying, I don't know if it's going to work or not, but let's try it and see what happens. And I learned a lot of things through that process as well. So even I, Super Sponsor Man, try to learn every single day about how these win-win opportunities might help each other. How can we benefit? How can we help each other?
Right. Absolutely.
And the question is, would there be a way, or would you be open to having a conversation to see if what you do and what I do, if there's a way we can kind of work together to create an opportunity where both of us would mutually profit by helping each other?
Yep. And I love to, again, it's all, did I say all? I meant all about win-win community connections and partnerships. Whether you're partnering with a local mom and pop Main Street business leader, whether you're partnering with a Fortune 500, Fortune 100, whether you're partnering with a charitable cause group or organization, it's all about partnerships, people connections and partnerships, and then just figuring out the details. Like, for instance, one of the things that we both love to say to our potential members is, what about, we create a 7 figures or a 7-step plan to seven-figure connections, a script formula where we talk them through the psychology, and it was like a 15-page document and script, and then what we tell them to do with that process after they not memorized it, but after they read it. What do we tell them to do with those things?
We told them just to burn that and just go talk to people to see if there's an opportunity where you could mutually benefit or profit by helping each other.
Yep, exactly. So it's people connection. So, and here's the thing. Again, that whole, even the idea of asking your way to success, become an askaholic. The more you ask, the more you'll get, good, bad, or indifferent. But if you ask 100 people, hey, how can I help you? How can I serve you? How can I help you get results you want, need, desire, based on my ability to speak, preach, teach, nag, or get digital cars sponsored, or how to, whatever it is you do, Doesn't matter how to mow lawns, how to whatever. If you ask 100 times, and let's say you really suck as a human being, let's just say that's for a second, and you get 1%, which by the way is incredibly like low, totally low. That means you had this week or this month, you had one more profit producing encounter that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So let's just be realistic. Let's say you ask 25 times this week, 5 times a day, 5 days a week. That's it. Just ask your way to success. Your task is to ask. If all you do is ask 25 times this week and then 25 times next week, and then if you get, let's say, again, a low average, so 10%, that's 2.5 new gigs this week. Opportunities to impact this week, opportunities to generate income for yourself and others this week that you wouldn't have had if you didn't simply ask. So what 5 people specifically can you ask today, right? When people come to you, Claude, once again, with their proposals, instead of partner conversations, say, I got this 27-page document here. It's going to get me $100 million. And what do I do with this now? Go ahead, Dr. Claude. Enlighten us.
Well, Dean, I also work with not only authors, experts, speakers as a sponsorship mentor, but I also work with race teams. And nothing is more competitive in sponsorships than racing. I mean, it's all built on sponsorships. Every car is highly sponsored. And some of these folks have went out and spent thousands of dollars on having a graphic artist do up a proposal for them. And they come to me and saying, I sent this proposal, it's not working for me. So I instruct them to take the proposal, take a lighter and burn it. And they look at me, are you crazy? I spent $5,000 on this. I'm like, that's a $5,000 lesson, just like my $2,000 venue. Burn this puppy. Don't send it out. Go talk to people, have a real conversation to see if there's a way you can mutually benefit by helping each other. And if there is, make up a little proposal based on your conversation, not on what you think they want or what I think it might take to generate a win-win. Unless you have a conversation with them, you have no idea. And here's the thing. If you have a proposal, you're already prejudging what you think they want. Secondly, how you serve your clients might be different. How you serve a realtor might be different than how you serve a restaurant, which might be different than how you serve a venue. How do you give them a fair trade for what you're doing? Yeah. Whereas on a proposal, it's like one size fits all, right? So just go talk to people saying, hey, I wonder if there's a way that you and I can mutually benefit should we decide to partner on this idea.
Correct. And it is again, human connection. That's all there is to it. Really go out, have some people. And where you want to start is like real simply with the people you know, like, and trust that know, like, and trust you, starting with like direct family and say, hey, listen, I promise you don't know everybody your family yet knows at work, at play, and whatever. My mom knows people I don't know. I use this analogy all the time. My mom knows people I don't know. We've generated a ton of really good results and impact and income in the community because she simply knows people I don't know. So do not prejudge, right? What are the 3 things we say when we have possible interactions with people? Go ahead, enlighten us, Dr. Claude. What are the
3 things I say that's helped me generate double, triple my income is saying, number 1, I will not prejudge. Number 2, I will not prejudge. And number 3, I will not prejudge. So I look at it and say, okay, here I go. I will not prejudge. I will not prejudge. I will not prejudge. And then I ask the question, would you be open to the idea of you and I having a conversation to see if perhaps there might be an opportunity for us to mutually benefit by helping each other? That's it. Right. Because what happens is that, we talk ourselves out of that they wouldn't be interested. We're too small. They're too big. They probably can't afford it. They don't know who I am. They already said that they sponsor somebody else or whatever. And we go for weeks back and forth beating ourselves up whether we should even make contact or not. So I'm saying, hey, rather than taking all that wasted energy and time, ask the question, would you be open to the idea of us having a conversation to see if perhaps there might be an opportunity for us to mutually benefit by helping each other?
Right.
Really? If they say yes, I meet with them. If they say no, next, hey, would you be open to the idea of us having a conversation to see if perhaps there might be a way we can mutually benefit by helping each other? Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And that's the goal, obviously, to help each other. Right. And people that I know that I've helped for the last 50 years, some of those people are still writing checks to this very day. You have the same thing. People literally you've partnered with even 30, 40 years ago who are you invite them over to your house, or you go to their place, or they're lifelong friends who also happen to cut you checks on a pretty regular basis to do good things in the community, not just hey, just because you're friends with benefits. No, we're talking about making a difference by doing what you love. So listen, you're going to make mistakes, embrace them, and also learn by standing on the shoulders of giants. Make mistakes that other people haven't had to make. We've made millions of dollars worth of mistakes so that you don't have to. And that's the point. So, but you're going to say, hey, listen, I have some billionaire members who have made more mistakes than I have, honestly. And they say, well, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. And I say, but have you done it this way? And they go, no, I haven't tried that. And I go, okay, I'll get back to you because my risk tolerance is very high on experimentation and that's the same way. Figured out some things as the direct result. Again, calm, nothing significant happens in the calm. It's in the storm where the major, when things are going great, you're not challenged, you're not pressed, everything is okie dokie. But when you're challenged, when the bills are due, when the, things are upside down, that you get creative, you get motivated, you get inspired. And that's when the most significant magic really happens. I could tell you from experience, for instance, invisible magic dust was originally magic dust. And then when 9/11 happened here in the US, then it went to invisible magic dust. Go figure, right? Because you can't ship cornstarch or talcum powder or salt or dust or dirt from the ground, or you just can't ship anything like that anymore. You can't stick those in an envelope. So what's interesting, I would have never figured it out on my own if it wasn't for the challenge that at that time, this example was 9/11, right? Is that had I gone along my merry way, everything would have been, status quo, copacetic, all of that stuff. But because of that little invisible magic dust went instantly, 37% hike in response rate as a direct result of it going invisible. Remember the pet rock, right? So it wasn't a rock in a box, but now what do we sell? We sell thin air. Oh, and by the way, it's nicely packaged, but it is nothing more than a little, 6-page booklet that describes the proper use of your invisible magic dust and a sample, very rare sample of invisible magic dust. I don't say that to sell you on anything, but the idea that if life doesn't happen to you, you're not doing enough. So you have to experience, because I had magic dust out there, and because of the 9/11, it became invisible magic dust, and it became a promotional marketing miracle and not just a simple magic or novel idea, right? So, but because the mistakes were made, because life happens, we have people come to us all the time. Another member just said, hey, where do I go find this, that, or the other thing? Especially leads or opportunities. First thing we said is go live your life. Go live your life. Talk to somebody behind you in line at the grocery store. Talk to your friend next to you in church. Go hang out with family members when, invite people to coffee. Go find out what it is they do. Be more interested in them than trying to be interesting to them. And how can you serve? Claude,
opportunity is where you're at.
That's right. That's exactly right. Opportunities everywhere. And you have to cultivate that opportunity mindset by taking action. So the multi-million-dollar money-making marketing magic of mistakes. Yeah, that's right. It's real. Make mistakes. Check your risk tolerance, of course. Don't put yourself in harmful situations, and we never suggested that. Though go out and make a difference. If you can do this thing without making mistakes, you're not going to be the success you dream and hope to ultimately be, because you're not pressing the boundaries enough. So go out, stretch, challenge, learn something new, make mistakes, find out if somebody else has made that mistake. If they have, learn from it. If they haven't, then go out and test, try, tame that money-making marketing magic beast and forget mistakes. What's the worst thing that can happen if you make a mistake, Dr. Claude?
You learn from it.
Listen, nobody dies, nobody gets pregnant. We're not talking about put yourself in harm's way. I'm talking about go out, make some mistakes, learn something from it, serve some people in probably ways you would have never dreamed to serve them before. So, closing thoughts?
Dean, we're always love to hear from folks what they got ideas. If you want to run an idea by us, we're always open to hearing what you have. If we can give you any suggestions, go to chatwithdean.com, chatwithclaude.com. We're always available to have a conversation if you want to brainstorm on whatever it is you got thinking of. So,
yep. And by the way, what's the best way you can prove that you can actually help somebody, Dr. Claude?
We just help them.
That's it. So chat with Dean, chat with Claude, let us help you. And then if there's an opportunity for us to do something together on a separate call, we'll have that conversation with no pressure. But if we can help you, let us help you. So we'll ask you a couple of questions about what you do or what kind of impact you want to have and what kind of mistakes you've made or what things you've learned. And then pair that up with the things that we've learned and the mistakes that we've made and maybe give you some ideas and suggestions that might actually, serve you in getting some real results in one way, shape, form, or another. So once again, chatwithdean.com, chatwithclaude.com. It's free. And the reason we can afford to do that is because we've simply made more mistakes. And the biggest mistake that we could be making is not inviting you to have a conversation. The biggest mistake you can make in this moment in time is to say, no, they're probably just going to sell me something. Talk about that for a second, just a real quick second.
Dean, we don't need to sell folks on what we're doing here. We have all the opportunity we want because we can partner with whoever we want, whenever we want, as often, as little as we want. But we are looking to make a difference. Together, we've generated $20 million for nonprofit groups. And we'd like to see more nonprofit groups benefit. So if you are an expert in any kind, reach out to us, have a conversation.
Yep.
And we only work with people who really, really, really want to work with us. So we're certainly not going to twist your arm to partner with us in any way because it might not be a good fit.
Yeah.
But we might have some insights that'll save you 25 years of your life of frustration, of trying to figure things out when we've already been down that rabbit hole a few times. Yep. And can maybe point you in a little different direction that might help you get to where you want sooner than later.
Yeah.
And then if our conversation, if there's a way, again, let's see if there's a way we can mutually benefit by helping each other. And if there is, let's do something. If not, it's all good.
Yep. And I know for a fact, people walked out of conversations with both Claude and I and turn around and turn them into thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars as a direct result of free, casual conversation amongst professionals. But people will just connect up and have that conversation. No pressure whatsoever. As a matter of fact, if you want to, if there's something we can help you out, then we'll have that conversation. But it is by invitation and interview only. So we have nothing to sell you on that conversation. So let's just serve you, help you get results. And again, please, if you make the mistake of thinking they're too busy or I'm too busy or, just have a conversation, 5 to 15 minutes. Let us figure out how we can help you and then report back. I just had another guy call me, he goes, oh, by the way, ... your marketing stuff works, right? It's like, thank you. I know that. I don't know what he's talking about specifically because we had a 15-minute conversation. He's never given me a dime, and so just let us help if we can. Pretty easy, pretty easy. So Dean Hankey, Claude Haggerty, chatwithdean.com, chatwithclaude.com, and let us know how we can serve you. That's it. Have an awesome, super sparkly, spectacular day. If you'd love to have Pay It Forward and Profit packed and profitable events, please let us know. We'll be happy to point you in the right direction there and serve you with your own packed and profitable events by partnering with people to make a difference, make an impact, have influence, and generate an income for you and your business. Thanks so much. God bless. Good day. Take care.